You want to what? The man in armor yelled, for once his calm and composed demeanor was adorned by anger. Have you lost your mind? He questioned this to the crimson-haired handsome that stood in front of them. The man does not show any reaction at his brother in all but blood-enraged expression, and he briefly spares a glance at him. And he shows nothing in response. Just like him, he also does not show any emotion. And that seems to enrage his knight. No, former knight to be precise. Even if his face does not show it, but he knows it very well, he can read his emotions as clearly as day. There is no way the man in front of him will serve him further. With all respect, Lancelot, I do not lose my mind. He replied to the Knight of the Lake stoically. As a matter of fact, for the first time I served our king, my mind opened. On his side, Lancelot clenched his fist, the gauntlet that clad his hand groaned in protest under the pressure of his strength. Why Tristan? He asked, no demand to his fellow knight. Tristan glanced at Lancelot, his eyes peering over the wielder of Arondite before shifting to him, and he bowed his head. In my whole life, I can say without a doubt serving your majesty is the greatest honor and glory. He said, voice solemn and calm. Then why? Lancelot asked. If you say that, then why are you still? Because life is not only about honor. Tristan answered, his eyes met Lancelot's. Honor is great, and as Knight of Round Table I know that, it was our foundation after all. But it is the foundation of being a knight, not human. While Lancelot seemed struck by those words, but he did not, because he already expects such things in the first place. Tristan turned to him this time, and then he bowed his head respectfully. You fight majestically and gracefully in the battlefield, and none can oppose you. You have led us in countless battles, but never once we know defeat, even in face of Vortigern, where everything seems lost, but you prove to be able to create a miracle and bring another victory to us. And I won't hesitate to admit in my whole life there is no greater achievement than standing on your side, serving you as your knight. The battle with Vortigern. He knows well what he means. That battle was a close one, very, very close. As matter of fact, just like Tristan said, he, himself, sure they won that battle because of miracle. And not just stop there, even right now when this country is under duress, but never once you show weakness, you manage to balance everything without any deviations, you punish people without a single mistake, in a sense you are perfect. And what is wrong with that? Lancelot asked the crimson-haired man. Isn't that a good thing? It proves King Arthur to be a good king, showing that he is not just unmatched in the battlefield but handling the stability and necessities of people as well. He pointed to him. Indeed, what you said is true, Sir Lancelot. Tristan nodded in agreement. But tell me, my friend. His eyes focused back to the Knight of the Lake, have you ever seen our king grief? Lancelot blinked, face showing taken back expression. Wah! As a matter of fact. Tristan turned back to him. Are you even capable of feeling grief, your majesty? He closed his eyes, grief. He can feel it, of course. He is not a machine, he is not some kind of puppet, he is human being, so of course, he can feel that emotion. But he is not allowed to. For to become a perfect king, one cannot be a human, and to save his kingdom, he has to become a perfect king. He reopened his eyes, scanning the red-haired man with an impassive face. There is nothing else to say. I do what is best for Britain, and I understand what you are trying to say, Sir Tristan. He responded to his words in a stoic voice. That answer seems to make him more upset, he can see his usual handsome and kind face now marred with anger. Even until now you still. Tristan murmured as he clenched his fist. Very well then, if you say so, your majesty, then I take it I have your permission to leave from the round table? Yes. He answered stolidly. Tristan bowed to him, probably for the last time as his knight, and slowly raised to his feet. Make no mistake, when Britain needs it, I will raise my sword to defend our land, however I refuse to serve under you directly like how I used to be. Tristan. Lancelot barked, his handsome face marred by an indignant expression. That was out of the line. If our king need you personally, then you have no right dash, it's okay, Lancelot. He calmed his friend, from the beginning until now his face remained calm and stoic, showing no emotion. Like I said, I understand what you are trying to say, Tristan. And if that is what you wish, then I shall grant it. Tristan offers no words, he simply stares at him, his eyes that used to be closed is opened and keenly studying his appearance, seems trying to find something for a moment, for a few seconds he offers no words and then he closes his eyes as if he had found what he looking for, as I expected. He said with a resigned voice. King Arthur does not understand humans' feeling. And with that he turned his back to him and walked away, leaving the room without any further words. He let out breath more than usual through his nostril, eyes closed. He began to wonder about the damage that will come after this. Tristan won't be the last, there will be others that soon follow his step and he can't blame them. He understood what they felt, it was just a natural reaction. But at the same time, he can't do anything about it. He has to discard his human's emotions if he wants to save everyone after all. That was the oath he make when he pull out Caliban from the stone. The oath he makes when he becomes king of Britain. The oath he makes when he decides to become the salvation for his kingdom. And he has no intention to go back from that oath. It has been 30 minutes ever since the royal selection declared to begin. It has been 30 minutes ever since everyone in the castle dismissed and they all sent to the dining room to feast. The food. Well, they all look delicious and very appetizing, Amelia admits that. Despite her having Rem who can cook very well, the half-elf had no doubt the food would be more delicious than the maid made. However, as much as she wants to eat now, she can't find herself wanting to eat. Not when her only friend needs her. Pendragon is clearly not in good mood, even Amelia can tell that, despite how he looked calm and nonchalant, but the murderous gaze he has when no one looking, she caught it since she is near him, can't be more obvious. He did not speak, he did not move, he simply sat in a chair while crossing his legs and stared emptily to the front. Oh, there are many nobles that come approach him, so many as matter of fact, all of them introduce themselves to him and seem eager to gain his favor, and Amelia understands why they did that. She is still learning, but even she is not oblivious enough to not know the reason why they approach him. Volcanica is a dragon from ancient times, from 400 years ago. The creature is one of the important figures that are responsible for saving the world from the madness of the Witch of Envy when she almost devoured the world. Not ending there, Volcanica is also the dragon that has blessed the land of Lugnica for years. True, the kingdom of Lugnica was good and strong on its own in early age, but after making a covenant with the dragon, Lugnica soared above other kingdoms. At their prime, when the royal family was still alive, Lugnica was known as the strongest kingdom among the four. Even when there is a civil war and demi-human war inside it, none of the outside kingdoms Dorito try to involve themselves in Lugnica's own conflict. It was because they know that Lugnica is powerful, undoubtedly so to the point that if the other kingdom tries to do anything they will get nothing but shit in the end when Lugnica focuses on them. Wallachia learned this the hard way after all. And after the war ends, the kingdom regains their wealth without much difficulty, another proof of the dragon's great power. It was proof that the pact with the dragon was very, very fruitful to Lugnica. It was very worthy to the point it would surely be fine if the dragon descended and decided to lead the kingdom by itself. Volcanica is already a god to Lugnica. And now, sitting in the middle of the room, among every head of nobles' family, royal guards, and sage council, is a young man who has the same blood with their god. In his vein flows the blood of creatures that have been there for their country for a very long time and even helped to found the kingdom in the first place. By any means. The man that now sits in this room. The man that sits on her side. Have more right to be a king than Anyoni in this room, including herself and the other royal candidate. And to have him back you. Roswall really plays the stage very well, I'm very impressed. Puck commented through their mind link. With Aaron at your side, Leah, as long as you behave properly you will be king, there won't be a contest if things go right. Puck was right, Amelia may be only a beginner in politics but even she knows that Aaron right now is practically close to kingmaker. He can be said as son or descendant of the god of Lugnica, having him on her side means big support. True, there might be a small hindrance due to her appearance that looks like the Witch of Envy, however to the public the witch was already sealed for a very long time. She still may scare them, but with Aaron who can be dubbed as a son of their god on her side. The god that is responsible as one of the figures that put down the witch. People are going to be assured for sure. If is terrible just like the witch, then Aaron is going to stop her. As long as he is on her side, she does not need to worry that people of Lugnica are going to fear her. All in all, her negative image has been erased, and now it turned to positive. She dared to say that right now she has more standing than the other royal candidate. I don't like it. Amelia did not like the situation at all, she downright hated it as matter of fact. This is very far from what she wants. She wants the royal selection to be fair. And this is. I don't like it too, yeah, trust me. Puck tries to console her as without a doubt he senses the turmoil inside her. However, you must realize this actually is not unfair. What do you mean? She demanded, still angry at what happened. Aaron chose to stand at your side not without a logical reason. He did not lie, He was being honest. I sense it when he said that, he does not support you because you are his friend, but because in his eyes you are the best king for Lugnica. He did. The half-elf briefly glanced at the man on her side that had a stoic expression. She knew she shouldn't be surprised, she shouldn't expect less from him. Last night's conversation pretty much confirms that after all, but to see and hear it directly like this. Amelia feels her heart beating faster and a warm feeling filling her chest, something that lately often happens. She wonders what this feeling is. It made her feel weird, though it is not unpleasant. You better ask him by yourself for more explanation, though I won't suggest now. Puck said. He's really, really angry now, yeah. But the cat spirit still thinks that angry is enough to describe just how mad Aaron is now. He can sense the fury inside the boy now boiling like a volcano. Normally Puck would suggest Amelia to stay away from the man. He clearly is not in the best condition to approach. After all, one wrong comment and he will snap. He was barely able to show calmness when talking to nobles that approached him and even bluntly said that he was not in the best mood to have a conversation. But Puck knows well Amelia won't do that. She is going to stand by his side, the girl really too kind even for her own good. Arguing with her right now will result in nothing. So he allows his daughter to stay at his side, but if Aaron tries to do something to her. Speaking about him. Puck, are you aware that Aaron? No, I don't, but I know he is not normal the moment I saw him for the first time. He informed her. Truthfully, Puck was surprised to find that Aaron had the blood of dragon inside him. He still remembers when he checking his gates secretly when he was laying at the top of his head the first time they meet. He did not manage to see what his true nature is, however when he was staring at the pool of energy inside that boy, something stared back at him. Something big, something that more powerful than him. And Puck gained his title as Beast of the End not without reason. Only a few individuals that are stronger than him, the number can be counted by fingers and hands. And what worse, that whatever gazing back at him, it has yet to awaken, it still lay dormant, it only staring back because Puck checking on it too much. He didn't see the full creature, he only managed to catch a glimpse of big green eyes with a slit before he retreated so the creature did not notice him or got awakened fully and noticed him but now it revealed. Okay, so maybe it's dragon alright but I doubt that dragon is like Volcanica. It's something that is obviously bigger. Puck thought with a grimace. And obviously it is also not a kind one. Volcanica is a dragon that is hailed as god, there is a reason for that. Puck maybe doesn't know, but he is sure the dragon radiates a warm and benevolent aura if it made humans not afraid of him. But what he sensed from Aaron? It was power. Pure power taking shape. A pack of large amounts of mana given form. Nothing else. If the energy he called can be called mana it is, he never feels mana that has such potency and powers. Oblivious to his surrogate father's dilemma, Amelia glances at Aaron who is putting on a stoic face. The aura he radiates now is clearly saying that he is not in the mood to talk and she sure had she is someone else, Aaron going to usher her away. Aaron. She called. The man did not answer but her muscles that stiffened for a moment showed her enough that she got his attention. I will go take some food, do you want some? His green eyes that stare emptily to the front slowly shift to her and the half-elf flinches seeing his gaze. There was no emotion in there, it was blank and unfocused. Amelia knows why he did that, because right now Aaron was angry, so angry and it will be very obvious to be seen. And showing such emotion right now in front of these nobles would be unwise, there are many that would try to take advantage of him if he did. Soto solved that he hid it. Putting a blank and emotionless mask, just like what he did a moment ago in front of everyone when he talked with Roswall. And had Amelia not had Puck on her side, she wouldn't know that right now Aaron is really angry. How can he hide his emotions so well? She thought with confusion and sadness. It hurt her to see him like this, to hide his emotion like this, to force himself so nobles awed by his presence like this. To see Aaron looks like doesn't possess human emotion. It was disturbing beyond any measure. Yet scarily it also fit his nature somehow. Thank you Emmy, but I'm not in the mood for food now. He rejected the offer stolidly. However, if you wish, I can accompany you. She knows what he tried to say, it is best to stick together so she gains more reputation, to make her chance to be a king bigger. But no, Aaron you don't have to. She said. Stay in here, I'm fine by myself. But right now she doesn't care about that, she will not allow him to hurt any further. Aaron has helped her so much, she owes him more than anything. The idea to pay him back never crossed her mind because he already did so much for her, even if it was only for a short time. So the best thing she can do is to support him and be there when he needs her. Just like now. I will go take a drink for you as well, she said as she stood and made her way to the food and drinks. The blonde-haired man only stares at Amelia with a blank look. Truthfully, he felt a bit guilty to make her feel so uncomfortable, but he found himself didn't care for now. He is not in the mood to talk after all, right now keeping a good appearance in front of nobles that approach him already hard enough. Damn politics. He hardly pays attention to them due to the anger that boiling inside him, but he is not stupid. The moment their nobles approach him, he already turns on his Samsung and records the conversation. He is going to hear all of the recordings when he goes back after this. Speaking about go back, even in mind it is still enough to make him bristle. Roswall is nowhere to be seen right now, and as much as Aaron hates to admit it, but that man did the right thing. Because Aaron sure might snap at him and cut off his head or do such things, and making a commotion in this place now is the last thing he wants to do. When he got back, however, that damn clown is going to get it. Aaron-sama. Another one, great. Aaron thought tiredly. He lost count after the sixth noble approached him. Raising his head, he prepared to greet whoever called him, but to his surprise, it wasn't noble. It was Anastasia Hashin, along with her knight, Julius Draculius. Yes? He asked, noticing it was Julius who called him, so he stared at the royal guard. I'm Julius Draculius. Allow me to say it is an honor to meet someone who shares the same blood with our great dragon. Julius introduced himself politely while giving a respectful bow. And this beautiful woman on my side is Anastasia Hashin. Hello, Anastasia waved at him in a cheerful manner. Aaron Pendragon, it is nice to meet you too as well, Anastasia-san, Julius-san. Aaron greeted back with a small grunt. Pardon me for saying this, but right now I'm not in the mood for pleasantries or chat, so if you please may go to the point of why you are visiting me. The purple-haired beauty only smiles at the response. Ah, it's fine. Truthfully, I also don't like pleasantries much, it is a waste of time. And time is money, she said with a wink. I just came here to introduce myself to Aaron-san. Is that so? Yup. Seeing you already know Priscilla-san and Felt-san, I think it's just fair if you know me as well, right? Aaron stares at the greedy woman with a stoic face for a few seconds before he lets out a small humph and has his lips curled to smirk. So are you coming here trying to recruit me as well? Anastasia let out a thoughtful voice. Maybe. I won't refuse if you wish to join me though, as matter of fact I will be happy to welcome you. You and everyone else in this room. Aaron replied with a short and dry chuckle. Unfortunately for you, Anastasia-san, right now I have no intention to stray from Emmy's side. I know, but... Anastasia's smile widened a bit as she caught what Aaron was trying to say, then she pulled out a small paper from her pocket and extended it to him. If you need something, you can contact us. My group is still mercenary after all, and having you as a client will be very beneficial. It will increase her company's reputation if someone as big as him uses their service. Originally, the information about the royal candidate will be spread and told to the public soon after this. However, his presence right now changes the flow, and so the Sage Council rearranges the schedule, trying to make a decision: is it wise or not to tell the world about his existence? The decision will be made in 1 week. It doesn't matter to him, all nobles know the truth. He is already out of the shadows, something that he never wished to happen in the first place. I will see it later, Anastasia-san. Aaron said as he took the paper that was offered. Sure then. Anastasia claps her hands together with a bright smile. Since we have no business anymore, I will leave then. I know you're not in your best mood after all. Aaron offers no words, only a nod, and grunts. The purple-haired beauty nodded back to him and turned around, however she suddenly spun back to face him. Out of curiosity, Aaron-san. Yes? What would it take for you to be mine? Despite it can be mistaken as an intimate gesture, but the way it asked it was not. It was a very simple and innocent question. Even the way she asked it was also genuine. There was no any malevolent or benevolent intent in her voice, only pure curiosity. And Aaron would have bought it had he not seen how Anastasia presented herself to the people a few minutes ago. How her eyes lose their light and become blank, how her beautiful and angelic face that turned to hollow and cold an instant like they were never there. And I was hoping I could get along with her. But if her true nature is like what I expected. He was disappointed if that was true. He truly is. He was hoping to get along with her after all. Truly now there is nothing that goes according to his plan or what he wishes. Now he understands Subaru's frustration when despite knowing how things will go but he still can't do anything to change it, and how much it angers him. Hopefully she isn't, perhaps I could just read too much into it but, we will see. He chuckled in an easy manner. You are under the assumption that I work under Amelia-san because she owns me. Let me tell you this then. Aaron tilted his head and straightened his posture, his green eyes meeting the blue-greens of the woman in front of him. I belong to no one but myself. My loyalty and support to Emmy are because I have my own reason, my own purpose, we just simply have the same goal. You want to be the ruler of this kingdom? Maybe. But it's more like Emmy's thing. She has her own reason why she wants to be a king, just like you who wish to have this kingdom to fulfill your desire. So she does not wish to have a kingdom where everyone is equal. She does, make no mistake. When Emmy becomes king, you can be sure that she will do her best to bring equality to this kingdom. Aaron said, but she has her own drive, her own reason why in the first place she steps to the public, despite her appearance puts her at a major disadvantage, and wishes to be king. Anastasia seems very interested judging by how she now leaned forward and stared at Aaron in the eyes directly. And what is it? In response Aaron only smiled mysteriously before flicking the girl in the nose playfully, eliciting a yelp from her. That, Anastasia-san, is a secret. He said in a cryptic manner. Anastasia rubs her nose while giving a small glare at him but it serves no purpose, eventually she only shakes her head. You do know how to play with a maiden's heart, Aaron-san. Is that the impression I give? I apologize then. He said without meaning any of his words and she knew it. Anastasia shakes her head. It is quite entertaining to talk with you Aaron-san, I hope our conversation next time will be like this, with you in a better mood. We shall see Anastasia-san, and it is also nice to chat with you like this. Then, I will take my leave. The woman in white gave him a genial smile before turning away. Julius who stood on his side gave a kind and respectful smile and bowed to him. In response, Aaron gave a polite nod and smile to bid him farewell. As they left, Aaron let out another sigh before slumping in his seat. Great, now the other candidates started to make their move to him, something that he did not want. Granted the political strength and power it gives to him is tremendous, to Lugnica, he is the one who has blood relation with their god and no one doubts him that he is not a descendant of the dragon, not after the whole room practically saw what happened when he touched the royal insignia. Sadly they are talking about different dragons. It hurt her to see Aaron buried all his emotions and putting all of them aside, just for the sake of maintaining the perfect image of king supposed to be, truly it pained her. However it bring fair to her when she saw the same man now practically look ready to murder someone. Roswall L. Mathers to be precise. Turquoise-colored magical energy radiated from his whole body, almost like a shroud of flame. They were blazing and whirling around him to the point it was a miracle that the seat he currently sat on was still intact. Or maybe it is because Roswall already enchants them since he knew how Aaron would react when meet him. Amelia detects there are stone barriers placed in the corner of the room, making the structure more sturdy and at the same time also isolates this place from everyone outside. It has been 1 hour ever since they returned from the castle and back to the house that Roswall owns in Capital. It wasn't large since it was a house for emergency and the location was also near the exit of Capital. The small house is a bit isolated from others. And thanks for that no royal guard or magician that is patrolling around to burst in to sense the large amount of mana the blonde radiates right now. Or it could be because Roswall blocks them as well using the stone barrier he placed around this house. There is a saying that you should never poke a sleeping dragon in the eye in Lugnica. However, in this case, Amelia thinks Roswall is not just poking it, he is literally throwing garbage to it before kicking it in the face. At least give me one reason Roswall. One good reason why I should not cut one of your limbs or your throat right now. It was not a threat nor a bluff, but a swear. Amelia truly believes that Aaron won't hesitate slightly to cripple or kill the archmage that now sits in front of him now. She can feel Rem stiffened, her hands twitched and her face contorted to slight shock at the blunt threat. The blue-haired maid clearly doesn't know what happened to them and is still oblivious until now, however she clearly knows enough that Aaron is angry, really angry. Amelia can't blame her for showing such reaction, even she, herself also did not expect Aaron to blatantly declare his ill intention to the court magician, let alone to speak threat of murder so casually. Roswall himself looked calm, and the playful and genial demeanor that usually surrounded him was gone, he looked like a different person. I'm perfectly aware why you are angry Aaron-sama. Roswall said, voice solemn and grim. And I get it, I truly do. And I won't try to avoid the question so I will explain it from the beginning. He then takes a deep breath and stares at Aaron in the eyes that are now literally glowing with power and fury. It is because it is my duty as a citizen of Lugnica. Aaron's angry and furious expression turned to one of befuddlement, for a moment the glow in his eyes gone as he stared at Roswall. Your duty? He uttered in a dumbfounded voice. Indeed. Roswall nodded seriously. As court magician of Lugnica, I still have a duty to uphold this kingdom. Just like when Reinhard van Astria found Feldsama, I believe it is a fate for you to suddenly meet Amelia Sama and bring him to my place. This kingdom needs proper guidance, and you have already been mentioned by the prophecy to come here. Sooner or later you will be known to everyone, it is bound to happen. He spread his hands in a gesturing manner. What I did was only to fasten the progress and ensure Amelia Sama to have a pillar for her to lay, a foundation for her to stand on. As someone who supports her, that is my duty, and as court magician that is my duty to ensure this kingdom returns to its glory with you on our side. It was cold. But it makes sense in Amelia's opinion. Roswall is someone who holds quite a grip in the kingdom, he is court magician, one that handles magicians that serve the kingdom and live inside it, he is someone who has responsibility. And as much as Amelia hates to admit it. But he did his job. However, to Aaron, that seems the wrong thing to say. Get back, Leah. Puck screamed from the back of her mind, it was the loudest scream she ever heard, she wasted no time and obeyed her surrogate father in reflex as she took a step back, away from her friend in an instant. Boom. Just in time as the seat where Aaron sits, which happens to be near her, explodes due to mana that is overloading. So why? Why is he so angry? And why does she, herself also feel so hurt and angry at Roswall as well? What Roswall did is reasonable and makes sense, true what he did is invading privacy but his reason is solid, and the result is also very satisfying. Right now she is one step closer to reaching her goal to become king and unfroze her people. Image of Aaron's emotionless, angry, and pained face crossed her mind and Amelia felt a cold knife digging her chest. So why does she feel this emotion? She never feels so angry at someone like this and eventually, she decided to think of that matter later. Right now she is not in the mood to think so much, she worries about him and I will be in my room, please don't bother me until dinner. Amelia said as she was leaving, Puck followed her but he stopped and gave one last glance to Roswall for a moment, a warning, before leaving. Roswall-sama. Rem finally spoke for the first time ever since she helped her master stand, her eyes filled with concern and hesitation, what should? You can do your job as usual, Rem. Very well. Roswall watched as the maid left, as soon as she did the archmage let out a sigh and slumped in a nearby seat. His eyes roamed around the room, seeing the state of his place. It was in ruins. He knows Aaron will explode and take what he did very badly, and for that, he already prepared this place. The entire room was reinforced and enhanced by a stone barrier that he privately made to the point that even if there is someone casting Algoa in here there will be no burn or scratch on it. Nothing less was to be expected for a room that was created by him, a magician that has lived for 400 years. But for all that it seemed, it could do nothing in the face of the beasts that stood here not a minute earlier. Ice coated half of the surface of the room. On the floor, the wall, and even ceiling, it was everywhere as if to mock the magic-resistant properties the stones they were made from claimed to hold. While the other half practically looked like just burned despite its nature to be able to resist magic, the floor, the wall, and everything were left with burned marks from electrical energy that the young man radiated a moment ago. And those stones were 5 years old, containing mana that equal to 100 people. But when facing those two powers, well, he shouldn't expect less from Puck, he got his nickname as Beast of the End not without reason after all. Aaron himself has blood of legendary dragon flow inside him, if those two clashes there is no doubt that their battle would level this city. Still, he can't help but smile, the result is as satisfying as he expected. Everything went smooth, the royal selection, the conversation, Amelia's reaction. Everything went just like he expected. And now, it is time to close his book, he is at the final stage now, he is only a few steps away. Overreacting, he said. I admit that I do let my emotions control me but overreact. Just remember what Puck said enough to make a growl come out from my mouth. Like hell, I'm overreacting. That little abomination. He doesn't know Roswall's true nature. He didn't know that the clown was more of a monster in terms of behavior than him. How dare that man? He even still has the nerve to spout bullshit in front of me. After pulling these strings, he still has the guts to. That man. Doing his duty as supporter Amelia and court magician. Like how that man really cares about them. Ooh, he was not lying, he clearly told the truth, he did his duty but that was not his real intention. He doesn't give a single shit to Ludnica, it can burn to the ground and flip up for all he cares as long as it allows him to reach his goal. Did he really think I'm so stupid that I will by that reason? By any means, he should be killed. A man who doesn't even care about anything but his goal even if he has to sacrifice the whole village and kill those that admire him without any second thought. Just thinking about his answer. I'm a rational person, and I am also not one who usually lets my anger cloud my decision but this. That man. He literally destroyed me path to going home discreetly. And not just that, he still has the guts to say that kind of shit to my face, even after I confront him directly. Whoever becomes king in the future I don't care, as matter of fact as soon as I find a way to go home I will make sure Amelia can take care of herself before leaving but this. By doing this he turned the whole Ludnica to me, he made the world realize of my existence, and to this kingdom, I am as good as a descendant of their god. And there is no way I can be discreet and stay in the shadows after this. And my attempt to go back is also going to be very hard and possibly blocked by people of this kingdom since they don't want to lose me, the one who has the blood of dragon or their god. Just like when they don't give a shit when the royal family dies and only think of the covenant they made with Volcanica. I cannot any longer openly declare I am looking for spells or even mention something that is capable or related to another dimension to allies that I would gain in the future. Obviously they are going to notice that I'm seeking a way to return to my home and they won't let me do that. What he did. He just trapped me here, locked me in Ludnica and... It took about an hour for me to calm down, and I found myself sitting in the place where I met Priscilla for the first time and taking pictures of the capital. After that, I began to recall everything I did and went through. And let's just say it puts me in a bad mood, again. Though it for a different reason. Instead angry at Roswall, I'm angry at myself. I should see this coming from the beginning. I should know something like this will happen. No, perhaps I couldn't, but at least I should expect it. Two things happen in that time. Two things that are too fast for Amelia and Rem. The first thing is Aaron sprung forward, his face was the epiphany of anger to the point it brought fear to her just seeing it. His invisible sword was already drawn and he swung it without hesitation to the Archmage's throat with intent to behead the man. The second thing is a block of ice that suddenly appeared not far from Roswall and it clashed against Aaron's attack that by any means should kill the Archmage. The power behind the descendant of Dragon Strike proved to be very strong to the point the ice exploded and shattered under it might. Fortunately, the kinetic wave it created from clashing against the block is enough to give Roswall a chance to lean away from his seat, saving him from cleaved by the sword. Aaron-sama. Rem and Amelia find themselves yelling out the name of the man that has helped them so much lately, both of them stare at him with shock and disbelief. Calm down, Aaron. Puck already manifested himself, he glared at Aaron as he hovered protectively in front of Roswall who was currently on the ground. And much to the spirit's surprise, instead of being wary or what, the moment the boy's eyes landed on him was anything but that kind of emotion. Puck still remembers when the boy stared at him with fear for the first time, that was around 1 month ago, however those fearful eyes are no longer there. Replacing his fear is pure rage, dare he said, murderous even. Those green eyes were filled with nothing but fury and madness. Calm down, Aaron. Puck repeated, his blue eyes met Aaron Green's. This is definitely not a good situation. Control yourself, you let your emotions cloud your mind. He told the young man who was still glaring at him with his magical energy shrouding his body like a cloak. I understand your anger, but don't you think you overreacted? Not to mention you endangering everyone in here with that state of mind of yours, and if you harm Ya. The temperature in the room dropped, and the corner of the room started to turn to crystalline ice. I won't hesitate to put you down. The room is now split into two, where one part is covered with turquoise electrical energy that blares and evaporates everything it touches while the other part is filled with a chilly wind that starts to envelop everything into an ice structure. For a moment Puck thought that the threat will be more than enough to make the boy stop, he sensed there are conflicts of emotions inside him, he can sense the boy realize that he just stepped out of the line, his fury seems calmed when the name of his daughter is mentioned. However there's suddenly deep frustration and anger raise from him and it makes Puck become wary, the mana around him also flared as if responding to his rage and the cat spirit prepared himself to freeze the boy quickly lest things become enough. Amelia's voice cut through the tense atmosphere, slicing it like a hot knife meeting butter, and in an instant, the dense mana and the chilling sensation in the air evaporated as if they were never there. Both of them snapped their neck to the half-elf who now look on the verge of tears. Aaron, Puck, enough. You two are friends, this is. Amelia trailed as she let out a choked voice, her eyes shimmering from the unshed tears. Please. Aaron, please. Puck sensed the raging emotion inside the young man turn to shame, his facial expression also curled to regretful and ashamed. Then there is a spike of anger rise once again, but this time they were clamped down before they could explode. He watched as the young man closed his eyes and took deep breaths a few times, obviously trying to calm himself, and when he reopened his eyes, there's a sincerity reflected through them. Sorry Emmy, I let my emotions control me for a moment. Aaron apologized as he dismissed his invisible sword. I will be in the city, do not wait for me, I will probably come back late. He says that as he begins to walk away. Aaron. Wait. Aaron. Amelia tried to call her friend back but the blonde ignored her. Walking through the girl, the pseudo-saber opens the door and leaves. Roswall, who now already stands with help of Rem, only can stare at the young man a moment ago for a few seconds before sighing, that actually worse than I expected. He said dryly as he turned to Puck. Thanks to your help, Puck-sama. Make no mistake, I also don't like how you handle things. Puck said with a nonchalant shrug, but there was a sharpness in his eyes. But I understand your reason, and that boy seems to overreact too, not to mention it will be troublesome if you die now. Roswall only sighed while brushing the dust from his cloth. It was then he noticed Amelia glaring at him. Amelia-sama, is there something you want to say? I don't like what you did, Roswall. Again, Roswall let out a sigh and he touched his forehead. Amelia-sama, But I do understand your reason. Amelia cut him with a firm voice. You're trying to help and give me support, and it will be stupid if I reject it. However, her violet eyes glared at the magician with intensity. That doesn't mean you have the right to do such a thing to Aaron, not without his permission. We both know if I ask his permission, Aaron-sama will never agree to this. Then you should respect his wishes. It's not fair for him. But even so, the result can't be denied, and while I do feel regret for invading his privacy, but it was inevitable. Roswall shakes his head and gives a look to the half-elf. The prophecy has mentioned him, even if he dislikes or tries to avoid it, but in the end it will get him. I just trying to make we get the best result out of it. Amelia bit her lips at that. What Roswall said is practically true. If the prophecy has marked Aaron, then what he did is reasonable, and it is just logical to use it to their advantage, but... Rem, please follow Aaron-sama discreetly. Roswall said to the maid, making the blue-haired blink at him. We can't have Aaron-sama walking around in that mood, there chance some nobles or other royal candidate dash. No. Amelia interjected. Roswall, leave him alone. Amelia-sama surely dash. I said no, Roswall. You've done enough. Let him have his privacy. I don't care if you support me or not, but I will make Puck freeze you two right now if you refuse to leave him alone. And she will, without hesitation she will freeze them. Enough is enough. There is no way she will let his friend's life be bothered more than this. Seeing him like that already hurt her so much, and now this. I agree with Leah, Roswall, that was a bit too much. Let that boy have his privacy. Puck said as he hovered above Amelia. He looked nonchalant, but everyone in here knows that he can freeze both the magician and the Oni in an instant if he wants to. All he needs is Leah's word, and he will do that without any hesitation. Very well, I understand, Amelia-sama, I will leave him alone. Good. Amelia nodded, her face still firm but only for a moment before she put on a complicated look. Roswall. Yes, Amelia-sama. Aaron has the blood of dragon inside him, right? Then. Is that mean? Roswall's lips thinned a bit and he put on a thoughtful face. Wheel. His cheerful demeanor and way of talking seemed to return to normal, indicating he is truly relaxed. I don't think Aaron-sama blood will be able to unfreeze you, your people. He may babe have blood of dragon inside him, but I don't think it potent enough. He explained. Style, why don't you ask him later by yourself? Oh, judging by the mana he radiates. Roswall is actually sure if he got Aaron's blood it might be capable of being used as a catalyst or something to unfreeze the frozen elves in Elier Forest, but he is still not fully sure since Aaron himself is unnatural in a sense. No. I think it wouldn't be a good idea to ask him about that. Amelia shakes her head negatively. At least not right now, there are so many questions she wants to ask Aaron, but she knows that right now is not the time, not with Aaron very upset like this. Eren is very upset when his heritage is revealed, something that is strange in her opinion. She doesn't understand why he seems so against it. Does he hate his heritage? No, that would be hypocrite of him after he said he doesn't care about people's heritage or appearance. She thought as she recalled their first meeting when Eren told him the reason he didn't care about her appearance. And Eren is not a hypocrite, I know that. She has faith in him in that aspect. Her friend maybe can be mean, but she is sure he is not that kind of person. All it began with Arc 2. Where instead of me, but it was Rem who was targeted. Then after that, it is the battle against Woolgarm. I mean, I knew that the enemy practically targeted Ram from the beginning. This is shown when that puppy bites Rem instead of me, and yet I still insist on splitting with Ram. I know that from the very beginning, I maybe not be the sharpest and have dense moments, but that was very obvious, though the point it doesn't need to throw at my face directly. And yet, why did I split from Ram even knowing that? It was risky, stupid, I was barely made it, barely able to help her. If I was 1 second late, only 1 second, Ram would be dead by now, and there goes my plan to stay in this place with happy and comfortable. Rem would be broken beyond repair when I bring her sister's dead body home. She is going to blame herself and me. Amelia's trust and Beatrice's decent attitude will be lost. Everything is going to go down. And I have no doubt it could happen, not at all. Among all anime, Re:Zero is one of the fiction shows that can be considered realistic. The tragedy aspect was pretty much real. It is not an exaggeration or what, but it really could happen if you think logically. That was reality, no plot armor or power of friendship bullshit. Everyone can die no matter what. It is a Dark Soul-like plot where every choice can become important and vital. The story pretty much will end only on the first day if Subaru doesn't have returned by death. So still knowing all of that, why? I repeat everything that happens in the forest, my decision to split and secure the children first, my fight with the Woolgarm, realization that the children only used to distract me, Ram that got assaulted, and me saving her just in time. Even now the memory keeps repeating in my mind. I don't know how long I'm thinking about the battle, however when I finally realize, I finally know the reason, I did one thing that can be called an idiot. Raising my fist, I swing it to my own face and enchant it using Mana Burst. Pow! I sure as hell from all the pain I felt ever since I came to this world had nothing compared to my own fist, seriously, while it was hurt, got scratched and bitten over the face by Woolgarm and everything until now, but having all of them pale compared to my own fist. It was at this time I realized that servant strength is fucking terrifying to the point if I punch someone with that much power my fist going to blow their heads or burst through their bodies. Okay, maybe when fighting Elsa is more hurt, I got a dagger carving my face after all. I held my nose that was broken, probably, and bloodied, the red liquid slipped through my fingers and dripped to the ground beneath me. If myself from 3 weeks ago saw me doing this, I'm sure he going to laugh or deny that I was him, since it clearly acts that so stupid, unrealistic, and resulting in nothing. But to the current me, I know this is smarter than what I did in the forest back then. Because the reason why I allow all of them to happen is they slipped out from my mind. I clench my fist tightly, so tight to the point my nails digging my own hand and my knuckle turned white. I smacked my head to the edge of the stone structure nearby and grind my teeth to the point I heard a small crack from it. It slipped from my fucking mind. A life is at stake, my future is at stake, everything I worked on for those 4 days was at stake. And that kind of important notion, important realization, slipped from my mind because I was too eager to see how I had been improving by fighting those demon beasts. What a fucking bullshit. I really want to stab myself using Excalibur or smash my head using the flat side as I realized just how stupid and how high the level of it. And it was at that moment as well I realized that while I'm not as inexperienced as Subaru, but I have flaws that are more dangerous than him. Arrogance. Because I have power, I did not consider everything as a threat. Because I thought I knew everything, I did not consider everything would go awry. How arrogant and foolish of me. And this is the result. I deliberately let myself be played by Roswall, thinking that I can slip away with him so easily, slip away from a man who has been alive for 400 years, and a man who is a monster in all but the body. How laughable. This is the result of my failure. No one to blame but me, myself. I keep insisting that I can handle what Subaru went through, and the irony is in there. I always compare myself better than Subaru since I know my situation, what is going to come, and I'm stronger than him in everything. Then why do I still expect everything will be the same? It was clear to every fan that Subaru dragged to Re-Zero is not a coincidence. Not with Satella, who seems to know and love him, and the Pleiades watchtower that has trials related to constellations. And what makes me different from him in that aspect? And this prophecy. This prophecy just nailed the last piece. I should realize this sooner, but I refuse to believe it, refuse to acknowledge it because my arrogance is blinding me. What a joke. I let out a bitter chuckle as I touched my injured nose, wincing as I felt the pain, then I crook it back and I let out a howl of pain. God damn it. Broken bones really hurt. Ouch, ouch, ouch. But I guess I deserve no less. After all, what I did was pure idiotic and stupid. Hey, are you okay? I raised my head when an unfamiliar voice reached my ears and I found myself staring at Red. That was my first thought as I saw her. For a moment I thought I saw a member of Astria's family, but on a closer look, she isn't. She appeared to be the same age as me and stood not far from me, clad in a red and black frilly dress that revealed her shoulders. Her hair is tied into a ponytail and reaches down her back with two bangs framed sides of her face. Their color is crimson, dark red, darker than Reinhardt's. They all seem glinting with shadow under the sunlight. Her eyes, blue with a darker shade, remind me of a bold sea. Her figure, slim, slender, healthy, reminds me of Amelia save for her. Bust size, they were smaller. However, her skin. They are pale, unhealthy pale, it reminds me of the skin of an ill person. Your nose is bleeding. She pointed. Still clutching my bloodied nose, I only narrowed my eyes at her. I'm fine. I grunted. Who's this woman? I heal fast. That was true, even right now I can feel the pain in my nose lessened. Well, it doesn't change the fact you are still bleeding. She smiled in an unkind manner as she pulled out something from her pocket. Here. I stare at the tissue that was offered for a moment before taking it. It is unnecessary, but thanks. I said as I wiped my nose. Sure. She replied gingerly before her face showed slight concern. But you are bleeding a lot, are you sure you are going to be okay? I will be fine, moreover shouldn't you worry about your own health? Not meant to offend you, but you look like going to fall over any time. Oh, this? She held her arm out and gestured to her pale skin. I'm fine, I was born like this. She grinned at me. I might not look like it, but I can run around this city and still be fine. She said while puffing her chest proudly. Is that so? I merely curled my eyebrow at her. Good for you then. I said as I rose from my seat. Thank you for the tissue, miss, but I have to go now. I'm not in the mood to talk with anyone now. That fast? She blinked at me. I passed through her without offering any word. It is rude, but right now I don't care. I have so much to think about right now and I don't want to be bothered. You look like you have the whole world on your shoulder. I paused on my step, then I turned to her. The red-haired girl has her arms crossed to her back and gives me a smile. When the world goes against you, when everything does not go according to your wish, then wouldn't it better to stand and look forward? She asked rhetorically while moving her head to the side. You can look back, but don't stare too long. Just long enough to realize your mistake, after that turn to the front and... She then raises her finger and makes a gesture. Said, fuck you to the world. She said cheerfully. Wea. I don't believe I just said that aloud. The woman flipped and turned to a bumbling mess as she was kneeling in a corner and covering her face in embarrassment with a comical manner as soon as she realized what had just come out from her mouth. I can only stare at the red-haired woman that appears out of nowhere and behaves in an unusual way in incredulity. Truthfully, I don't care if there is a woman cursing, though it is kind of uncomfortable if they curse a lot like men, but what bothers me is her sudden flip in behavior. What a weirdo. Still. You can look back but don't stare too long, and turned to the front and said fuck you to the world, huh? It kind of reminds me of the speech I gave to Rem, though mine is more refined and polite. What a cheesy and cliché speech. Is this how I sounded to Rem and Ram when I was cheering them? I found it kind of strange and awkward actually. But not unpleasant. Mississippi. I called her, prompting her to turn at me from her position. What's your name? She blinked once before she slowly stood to her feet, brushing her dress once, and she gave me a smile. Isn't it common courtesy as a man to introduce yourself first? You're the one who calls and bothers me first. I said flatly while rolling my eyes. Nonetheless, I still decided to comply with her words. My name is Aaron. She beamed and raised both sides of her skirt in a ladylike manner. My name is Tyr. She introduced herself with a small bow. Nice to meet you, Aaron-san. It is nice to meet you as well, Tyr-san. I replied after a moment of silence, then I tilted my head slightly. And thank you for your advice. Tyr blinked once before her smile widened. Sure, Aaron-san. I let out a small grunt before shaking my head, then I turned back to the front and left. That woman. Whoever she is. Enemy, friend, or some stranger. It isn't important. What truly matters is she true in that regard. My arrogance and ignorance placed me in this situation, that was true. And I have every right to hate and punch myself to the death if that is necessary, but does it matter now? What should I do? Is to look forward and learn from it. Just like what I said to Rem and that woman said to me. It is not that easy to do it though. People can't just stand back after getting a few comforting words. If they did, then the world clearly will be filled with successful people right now. But at least I really need to look forward now. I practically have a limited time after all, not to mention I need to be more careful since I will face a life-threatening enemy. Betelgeuse Romanicanti, the Archbishop of Sloth, along with his people. Roswall. He is truly smart to make big moves before something big happens. This will make me focus on the witch cult while he gets time to plan more so he can intercept my move. Like I thought, it was easier to say. Just thinking about it already makes me anxious. If things were so different like this. What about Betelgeuse? Is there something going to happen? Something that unexpected? There won't be two archbishops, right? If I recall, there is some crazy archbishop that is in love with Betelgeuse and has the troublesome ability, something about sharing emotion and senses to others, hence why she is dangerous to be killed so carelessly. Worse, there will be Regulus in there or one of the archbishops of gluttony. Plan for the worst and hope for the best. I murmured as I pinched the bridge of my nose in frustration. By root, what should I do now? I don't have an answer for that, and no one answers it. For the first time since I came to this world. I have no plan and am truly lost. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.